The other day, I uploaded a video asking the question of whether the theory of evolution is inherently a random process or not. And by far the biggest criticism I got was people saying that it's not a random process because nothing is a random process. Randomness does not truly exist in the universe. Therefore, evolution is not random. And this kind of misses the point of what I was actually discussing. Because the thing is, nothing is truly literally random, so that is correct, but we have a social understanding of what random means. So if we're going to have this discussion, I think it makes sense that we use these understandable terms. There's two differences between something not being random. There's something where we observe the process and we see how it gets there, and something where we don't see the behind the scenes magic. So we don't know how we get to that answer. It's not replicable by our standards. We don't know how it gets there. So for our intents and purposes, there's no controlling factor. We don't know how it works. We call it random. For example, if I flip a coin and I get either heads or tails, sure, there was a physical reason why it landed on either heads or tails. No one was going to argue that someone was forcing it to be heads or tails. It depends on a lot of things. How hard I flipped it, what the environment that I was in was like, maybe the elevation of my hand when I flipped it up and when I caught it. All these things make a difference. And if you don't see that, you don't see how I make these controls, you're going to assume that it was random. And for our intents and purposes, we do say it's random. Another big example of this is a website called random.org, where basically you give it a range of numbers, say 1 to 100, you push a button, and it gives you a number. It does this through a very complex algorithm, which I'm not going to pretend to understand, because I don't want to sound like I am far more intelligent than I am, but the fact is there is a reason why it gives you 31, or 67, or 2. There's a reason why it gives it to you. It's not literally random. However, for our intents and purposes, it is random because we don't know why it gets that. To put this in application, look at the math problem I mentioned in the last video. 2 plus 3 equals 5. 2 plus 3, I said, is random, but it's not literally random because there is some reason why I picked it. The neurons going on in my brains, maybe my past experiences caused me to be familiar with the problem 2 plus 3, so that was the first thing that came to my mind. But the fact is, A, I don't know how it worked, B, I don't know the process by which I formulated that answer, C, I don't know how I could replicate that instance. If I was just going to pick another random problem, it could be anything. It could be 2 plus 3, it could be 2 plus 4, 3 plus 4, 3 times 4, it could be anything. It doesn't matter because I don't know the process that goes on. So from my perspective, it appears to be random. It looks like there is no universal, consistent method of arriving at the conclusion. However, once you have the system, once you've chosen the function, say 2 plus 3, the answer must always be 5 because that is evident. It is giving us the process. We see the formula right in front of us, so we know that it has to be 5. You can't have 2 pieces of cheese, put 3 pieces of cheese with it, and then you have 7 pieces of cheese. You can't do that. It's always 5. That is a process that we know is non-random because we observe how it works. It's just the way that the terms are defined. When you apply it to evolution, sure, the 2 components that make up evolution, which are the genetic mutations and the changes in environment, are not literally random. There is a reason behind them, but we can't tell what that reason is. There are shifts that happen for many reasons, but what is important is no matter what those are, despite how those variables turn out, we are always going to be able to find an exact value that determines the survivability of various species. That is not random because it is dependent upon the situation, and that is what I'm focusing on. That is what is so important, and I think that's what you have to recognize if we're going to have a discussion on this topic. So thank you.